Dear child, stop what you are doing right now. Put everything else down. What you are about to hear is not a small thing, and it is not something you can save for later. Heaven is speaking, and heaven does not repeat itself forever. Something has already been decided about you. Something has already been signed, sealed, and set into motion, and I am not going to let you miss it by scrolling away. Stay with me. Stay all the way to the end. Every line here carries weight. Every sentence is a door. By the time this message is finished, you will understand why it found you today and not some other day. You are going to feel something shift inside you as you listen, and once you feel it, you will not be able to say you never knew. So, open your heart. Sit with this, because today is the day everything begins to move. Dear child, God does not sit around wondering about you. He does not guess. He does not weigh his options like a man trying to decide. He already knows exactly who you are and exactly where your life is going. He is the eternal God, the unshakable God, the God who sits on a throne that nothing can move. And he is speaking over your life right now with full authority. It is settled. Your name has already been written into the story of what is coming. Nothing about this is uncertain, and nothing about it needs to be argued over in the courts of heaven, because there is no argument. There is no committee deciding your future. What God has already spoken over you does not need anyone's approval, including your own doubts. It does not depend on your circumstances lining up first. It does not wait for other people to agree with it. The moment God spoke it, it started moving. Even in the seasons where you could not see a single sign of it, even when you were buried under doubt, even when everything felt delayed and stuck, his word never lost a single ounce of its power. He did not forget about you. He did not change his mind. He was simply waiting for your heart to arrive at this exact moment. The moment you would finally be ready to receive what he has been holding for you all along. God does not change like people change. When he speaks, he is not just making a sound. He is building something real. When he declares a thing, the unseen world starts to arrange itself around that decision. Heaven sends help. Time itself has to make room. And whether you noticed it or not, that is exactly what has been happening in your life this whole time. All those confusing years, all those doors that slammed shut, all that time that felt wasted, none of it was outside his plan. He was not absent. He was weaving something. He was not undecided. He was preparing the proof for the appointed hour, and that hour is now. This confirmation is not just about a breakthrough landing in your lap. It is about who you are. Your identity has already been settled in him. Your purpose is not some mystery you have to keep guessing at. Your future is not up for debate. You were never barely scraping into your purpose by accident. You were marked from the beginning. Every hard season you walked through was not proof that God left you. It was proof that you were being tested and shaped for what is coming. And because you did not give up, because your shaking hands kept reaching for him anyway, he is confirming today what has always been true. You are his. You are chosen. And you are standing at the edge of something that cannot be stopped, reversed, or taken back. Lean in a little closer, because this next part needs your full attention. This is not wishful thinking. This is the moment where what God already decided crashes head-on into the life you are actually living. You are not chasing some vague maybe. You are not tiptoeing toward a possibility. You are walking straight into something that was already certain before you ever took your first breath. There is nothing hypothetical left. There is no more we will see. This is the hour where heaven's yes overrides every earthly delay. Every detour you took was actually a redirection. Every delay was actually protection. The road ahead of you has already been cleared, and it has been cleared by God's own hands. When other people looked at your life and saw instability, God was quietly building something solid underneath your feet the whole time. You thought you were wandering, but really you were walking through the proof that his promises hold up under pressure. My child, every video on this channel is created with love, faith, and dedication to sharing God's word. If these messages inspire and encourage you, you can support our mission through PayPal links in the description and pinned comment. Thank you for being part of this journey. Dear child, What is happening in your life is not some experiment, it is eternal. You do not have to be shaken by other people's opinions or by the way circumstances shift around you, because you are anchored in something far more solid than that. This kind of certainty does not flinch when life looks unstable. It stands firm in the face of impossible situations. And that, child, is exactly where you have been placed. God is not auditioning you anymore. He is handing you access. This is not a season of small hints. It is a season of Him placing things directly into your hands, things that were shaped in the very fire of your waiting. The world kept telling you to prove yourself over and over, to work harder, to perform better, to polish every rough edge, but God already confirmed you before any of that. You do not need to earn your way into His plan. You are already positioned inside it. All that was ever required of you was surrender, stillness, and faithfulness, not perfection. Because you kept showing up through the silence, through the dry seasons, through the nights that begged you to quit. God is now saying clearly, you are stepping into certainty. The fog is lifting. The doubt is fading. What used to feel hidden is about to be seen by everyone. This is not a quiet, subtle shift. This is sacred. God is not whispering about your future anymore. He is declaring it loudly. Do not let anyone convince you that you are still stuck waiting. The waiting is over. The doors have opened. The very things that once felt out of reach are now moving toward you. You are no longer chasing your dreams with your chest full of uncertainty. You are being met by answers that arrive exactly on time. What used to feel like a maybe has turned into something you can hold. And this next part will not come from you striving harder. It will come from you simply receiving it. Lift your hands, widen your faith. Get ready to walk into rooms you never applied to enter, to hear your name mentioned in conversations you were never part of, and to receive things that other people called unrealistic. Not because you fought your way there, but because it was already confirmed. And when people ask how it happened, tell them the truth. It was not luck. It was not a coincidence. It was a God who does not miss. Now listen closely to this next part, because it matters. Your name has never been just a whisper in some quiet corner of heaven. It has been spoken out loud, on purpose, with power behind it. When you felt forgotten, God was actually announcing you. When you were hidden away in the shadows of your own life, He was already calling your name, sending help on your behalf, releasing favor that carries your fingerprint. You have not been lost in the crowd. You have not been overlooked. Your name, the very one that got mispronounced or ignored or spoken about behind your back, has been surrounded with honor. You were not just one option among many. You were the one in mind from the very start. What is happening now was shaped around exactly who you are. You are not squeezing into a blessing meant for somebody else. This was built specifically for you. When God speaks your name, things respond. The atmosphere shifts. It is not just noise, it is a signal. It carries weight. It opens doors that used to be shut, and it breaks the power of lies that were spoken over you. This is the season where you will begin to notice the difference between people simply talking about you and God calling you forward. Others may have mentioned your name in passing, but God announced it, and when He announces something, it is not gossip, it is government. Every time He speaks your name, injustice gets reversed. False stories about who you are get rewritten. Every bit of warfare you have felt, every stretch of unbearable silence, it was because the enemy caught wind of what was being built around your name and tried to bury it under distraction and delay. But God never stopped speaking. He never backed off the plan. He simply raised His voice louder and marked you in a way that cannot be faked or stolen. What is coming for you now is not borrowed from someone else's story. It has your fingerprint on it, your original design. Because your name has been spoken in power, you are now being called forward, not just sent somewhere quietly, but truly seen. Hold on to this truth. God does not call out a name He has no plan to lift up. He does not speak over something He has no intention of blessing. Get ready to watch your name show up in places that used to forget about you. To watch doors open, not because you worked some connection, but simply because He nodded in your direction. Before we go further, take a second to hit subscribe on this channel so you never miss the next word that is waiting for you. Now, Let's talk honestly about the delays that hurt you. Those long, painful pauses that made you feel forgotten, they were never rejection. They were redirection wrapped up in mercy you could not see yet. What felt like delay was actually design. Every no you received was not punishment, it was protection. God was not withholding good things from you. He was shielding you from things that would not have lasted, so that what He truly had for you could arrive whole and untouched. He was rearranging events behind the scenes. He was clearing out things that looked good but were not right for you. He was adjusting the timing so precisely because what He prepared for you is too important to hand over before you were ready. The delay was never Him ignoring you. You were never being denied. You were being developed. He was building in you a strength that comfort alone could never produce. And that is exactly why it stretched you, why it hurt, why it lasted longer than you wanted, because real growth takes real time. Understand this clearly. The way God positions you is nothing like the way the world promotes people. The world rewards speed and performance and noise. God rewards faithfulness, and He moves slowly and surely on His own terms. You watched other people get pushed forward fast and wondered if you had been skipped over. But the truth is, you were being stationed, tucked away in a quiet place where deeper roots could grow. You were not being bypassed. You were in the back room of blessing, out of sight, but never out of the plan. Layers of protection were being wrapped around your promise, not because He did not want to bless you, but because He wanted the blessing to actually last once it arrived. Every moment you chose to stay when leaving would have been easier. Every quiet yes you whispered through tears, all of it was positioning you exactly where you needed to be. It might have felt like silence, like doors that never opened, like opportunities that disappeared before they even fully formed. But while you could not see movement above the surface, something was happening underneath. Roots were going deeper. Foundations were being laid in places you could not perceive. That quiet work is exactly what the shift breaking into your life right now has been built on. What looked like delay is about to reveal itself as the blueprint the whole time. You will look back on this season and feel something closer to wonder than sorrow because you will finally see the design behind it all. So, do not call this a setback. Call it a setup because the positioning season is finished and the release has already begun. Now, come a little closer because there is something else your spirit needs to hear settled once and for all. God has never just been standing near you watching from far away. He has been deeply, personally involved in every detail of your story. Every sigh you have ever let out, He received as a prayer. Every tear you have cried, He kept and wove into a plan for you. He is not a distant observer. He is a God who steps directly into people's lives. Dear child, we are committed to spreading hope, faith, and the message of Jesus Christ to people around the world. If you would like to help us continue this work, please visit PayPal links below. Your kindness means more than words can express. My child, you have never actually been walking through life alone. Even in the moments when your prayers felt like they disappeared into thin air, He was there in the middle of your confusion, present in the hardest decisions you agonized over, sitting beside you in the quiet moments when you whispered your questions with a trembling voice. Near is almost too small a word for it. He has wrapped Himself into the very fabric of your story. You cannot pull His presence apart from your process because He has been operating at full strength inside your chaos this entire time, not arriving late, not waiting to be called. The plans He has for you are not some generic template pulled off a shelf. They are made specifically for you, shaped by His own hand, and there has never been a single day of your life that He did not touch. Even in your mistakes He was present, not to punish you, but to protect you. His involvement is not limited to your victories. It runs through your lowest valleys too. He was the stillness that settled over you when the world got too loud. He was the warmth around you on your coldest nights. If you could see how much He fought for you in the moments you had no strength to fight for yourself, you would never again wonder whether He was truly involved. He sent help you will never even know about. He closed doors you begged Him to open because He could already see what was waiting on the other side. He rerouted your path in an instant to steer you clear of disaster you never even saw coming. That is what real love does. It does not sit back and watch, it steps in. And here is the part you need to hold on to. His involvement is not slowing down, it is increasing. You are entering a season where his activity in your life is going to become obvious, undeniable, deeply personal. Doors will start opening without you even knocking. Direction will show up in places that used to feel like nothing but confusion. People will walk into your life through his arrangement, not your networking. Provision will show up before the problem even becomes visible. You will feel him again, not as an idea, but as someone right there with you. So, do not settle for thinking of him as something far away out there somewhere. He is in this exact moment, in this breath, in this battle, in this blessing that is coming. His hand is steering your story, and he will not stop moving until every piece he has promised lands exactly where it belongs. Let every last trace of uncertainty leave your spirit right now. What you have been waiting for is not somewhere off in the distant future. It is not hiding on some far-off horizon called someday. It has already arrived right here, right now, in full. God has not left you stuck in between hope and hesitation. He has come with a decision, a seal, a final answer. You have been asking, is this really happening? Is this really you? And the answer is loud and clear, yes. That wave of peace you started feeling was not your imagination. Those quiet nudges, that sudden strength to keep going when you had nothing left, those dreams that started breathing again after feeling dead for so long, none of that was random. That was confirmation of something planted in you a long time ago. The seal has been broken. The announcement has already been made. You are no longer in a season of waiting. You are in a season of receiving. What was once only spoken as a promise is now becoming something you can actually see and hold. God's word is not a fragile whisper hoping to find somewhere to land. It breaks through resistance. It overwhelms impossible situations. Once he confirms something, it cannot be taken back. No power, no person, no inner doubt can override what he has decided. The enemy wants you to keep believing you are still stuck waiting so that you stop paying attention. But open your eyes because the signs are already blooming all around you. This did not sneak quietly into your life. It arrived with full force and full intention. You are not tiptoeing around clarity anymore. You are standing on solid ground that was laid beneath your confusion the entire time. What has been confirmed will show up in your everyday life, in conversations, in relationships, in that quiet whisper in your heart that suddenly feels louder than fear. Doors are opening now, not because you finally became strong enough, but because the timing has finally arrived. Let this settle deep in you. The moment your chest tightened while reading this, that was not coincidence. That was the edge of something real breaking into your reality. This is not a hint. It is a verdict, and it is permanent. It does not shift with your emotions or bend to what other people think about you. God confirmed you when no one else was clapping for you, when no one else even noticed your struggle, and now He's letting that confirmation step out into the open. Not slowly, but with power and with proof. This is the moment your life shifts from praying to receiving, from wondering if He heard you to watching everything He said wrap itself around your life like a flood. So, please, do not treat this like just another nice message you scroll past. This is not comfort. This is confirmation. The kind that leaves absolutely no room for doubt. It will come through people you never expected, through places that catch you off guard, and you will feel His voice through their words. Circumstances will line up not by accident, but by design. And you will know without needing anyone else to confirm it. This was always Him. Think back to those private moments nobody else ever saw. The nights your face was buried in the pillow, wet with tears, whispering words that felt too broken to even call a prayer. God was there. He heard every single one of them. You thought you were completely alone in those silent nights, but those were never wasted hours. They were sacred moments. He drew closest to you, not when you were shouting with confidence, but when you could barely whisper His name, and He received every one of those whispers like something precious. What was said to your spirit in that quiet season is about to be spoken loudly in public. He is about to make your breakthrough visible. Not for show, not for applause, but because what he whispered to you in the dark has grown roots, and now it is ready to be seen by everyone. You did not need a stage to believe him. You believed him in the shadows, and that is exactly why what is coming next will carry a kind of favor nobody can fake or manufacture. You did not force this. You did not manipulate your way into it. You simply trusted and carried that promise like a hidden seed, watering it with hope even when you were exhausted, nurturing it through every dry season. And now he is bringing it into full view, not with a quiet announcement, but with force. You have watched other people get celebrated while your own faith grew in silence. But he was not just building a single moment for you. He was building a whole movement. You were tucked away not because you weren't ready, but because what was being prepared for you needed more time and more room to grow. Now that the moment has arrived, he is not going to whisper your name in hidden corners anymore. He is going to speak it in places you never even applied to be in. People will wonder how it happened. They will question why. You will not need to explain a single thing. Just let your life be the answer. The same people who thought you had been skipped over will watch him put you in the spotlight, not because you chased visibility, but because you stayed faithful when nobody was watching. That is how he works. He takes what was carried quietly and lets it burst into the open, unmistakable and undeniable. Dear child, this ministry exists to bring encouragement, prayer, and God's truth to every heart that needs it. You can stand with us through PayPal links in the description and pinned comment. May God bless you abundantly for your love and support. My child, take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button because there is more of this word coming, and you will not want to miss the next part of what God is saying over your life. Pay close attention because this next part is deeply personal. This is not a sent out to a random crowd. This has your name written on it. The very name given to you before the world was even formed, the one that still carries weight and meaning. This word was written specifically for this exact moment in your life, for this heartbeat, for this breath. No one else can open it the way you can, because no one else was shaped for what has been written for you. That subtle pull you have felt for weeks, the quiet pressure drawing you towards something you could not fully explain. That was this moment finding its way to you. While others were chasing noise and attention, you leaned into stillness. You made space to listen. That is exactly why this found you when it did, because your spirit had finally grown still enough to receive it. This is not just encouragement, it is an activation, it carries weight, it carries revelation, and the timing behind it is not accidental. Nothing about this was sent empty. These are living words meant to shift atmospheres and unlock things in your spirit that have been closed for a long time. Inside this message are answers wrapped in clarity, keys hidden in ordinary phrases, and peace stitched into every line. This is not meant only to comfort you. It is meant to summon something in you, to help you rise and recognize that what you have been sensing is not your imagination. It is intention. You are not being overlooked. You are being overtaken by everything that was already prepared for you. This is not just a hint, it is a signature. So, do not let this message fade into the background like something you glance at and forget. Sit with it. Let it sink deep into you. You do not need to write back or prove anything. All that is needed from you is a simple yes. Your surrender is the response that has been waited for. Once you open your heart to it, nothing in your life stays sealed the same way again. There is something the enemy hoped you would never figure out. Real obedience opens doors that striving never could. You have spent whole seasons pushing yourself, stretching yourself thin, trying to prove you deserve something that was never meant to be earned in the first place, only received. And that quiet shift, that soft yes you whispered even through gritted teeth, did more than you realize. It moved things. It broke old patterns. It did not happen because you shouted the loudest. It happened because you bowed low enough to trust the process. Striving demands results right away. Obedience simply trusts that the process is worth it. And you have trusted even when logic pulled you in a completely different direction. even when everyone around you was sprinting towards shortcuts, even when the silence stretched on far longer than you expected. Hear this clearly. What was locked has now clicked open, and everything that was waiting behind that door is finally being placed in your hands. You tried doing it the way the world told you to, fitting the mold, hitting the milestones everyone applauds. But the door still would not budge, not because you were not enough, but because those particular doors were never meant for you. The real door, the one made specifically for you, could only be opened through obedience. No amount of performance could force it open, only surrender could turn that handle, and now it is being swung wide. The pace that comes with grace looks nothing like the exhausting pressure of hustle. You trusted even when nothing made sense, and that trust is multiplying quietly, producing things you did not have to force into existence, things that are now ready for you to receive. This is the divine reversal everywhere striving wore you down. Obedience is about to lift you back up. What performance made exhausting, alignment is about to make fruitful. So, rest in what has already been unlocked. Do not go back to grinding and striving. Do not let the pace of other people's lives pull you away from the flow you have finally stepped into. What has been opened for you cannot be shut by anyone. Let others rush around, chasing things. You stay rooted. You stay close, because what is coming for you next has to be carried carefully, and you are trusted to carry it not because you forced your way there, but because you surrendered your way there. God does not deal in confusion. He does not speak in riddles when your heart needs clear answers. And He's not whispering in shadows anymore when it is finally time for light. What is being confirmed in your life will not stay wrapped in mystery. This is not a season for subtle hints. This is the hour of undeniable proof. What He is doing will be visible. It will touch your real everyday life. It will show up in ways you can actually see and feel and hold. You have had seasons where you grasped at every small hint, straining to interpret dreams and feelings and coincidences, constantly asking, "Was that you, Lord?" But now the guesswork is being removed. He is stepping directly into your days boldly with a kind of confirmation that convinces not just your spirit, but your senses too. You will see it, you will feel it, you will walk directly into it. This will be the kind of confirmation written into agreements, spoken about in meetings, seen in your finances, recognized even by people who once doubted you had a calling at all. What He is doing is about to become so undeniable that even people who walked away will have to look twice and admit something real is happening. And this visibility is not about vanity. It is about the promise finally being fulfilled. You are living out something that was written long before you understood it, and the time has come for it to be seen. Expect to see it, not eventually but soon, not just hopefully but truly. What has already been confirmed in the Spirit is about to step into your everyday reality. You will feel the shift before you even get out of bed some mornings. You will sense that something has changed the moment you walk into a room. The invisible is becoming visible, and the promise is becoming real right in your hands, right in your timeline. Now here is something worth reminding yourself. You are not behind. You have not missed your moment. You are not lagging behind some invisible schedule that everyone else seems to be following. You are exactly on time. That is not just a nice thought. It is a truth worth holding on to. You did not sleep through your window of opportunity. Nobody in heaven is tapping their foot waiting impatiently for you to catch up. Time itself answers to a much higher order than the clock on your wall. And your life is being measured by preparation, not by comparison to anyone else's timeline. You have been fighting a lie that told you it was too late for you. But that lie is being canceled today. Yes, some people around you may have moved ahead faster. Yes, you have watched others get promoted while you stayed rooted in place. But growth that happens underground, out of sight, is not the same as delay. You have grown deep even when it looked like you were not growing at all. You matured in silence while others celebrated loudly in public. You are not hidden because you were forgotten. You are hidden because you were being strengthened. This is your moment, not because you finally worked hard enough to earn it, but because the timing has finally lined up. You have reached the exact point where readiness meets opportunity, and nothing about that is accidental. So, quiet the voice inside you that says you should be further along by now. Turn down the noise that keeps comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. Your calling was never on pause. It was being protected the entire time, and now it is being released. It is also time to quiet the constant second-guessing, the endless loop of, did I hear that right? Am I really ready? What if I got it wrong? That loop is not humility. It just wears the mask of humility while actually holding you back. You do not need another sign. You do not need one more piece of proof before you move forward with what has already been confirmed deep inside you. The hesitation you are feeling is not coming from a divine source. It is coming from fear. And it is time to stop letting fear have the final word. You waited. You wept through hard nights. You stayed faithful even when it cost you something. And now, the very thing you have been hoping for is finally within reach. But that old fear whispering, "What if I'm wrong?" is trying to hold you back at the finish line. If you were trusted to walk through the wilderness, you can absolutely be trusted to walk into the place you have been promised. If you made it through the fog, you can walk boldly in the light. Boldness does not mean the fear disappears completely. It means you move forward anyway. The road ahead of you has already been cleared. Every hard lesson, every quiet act of obedience, every uncertain step you took, none of it was wasted. All of it was preparing your spirit for exactly this moment. So, take the step, make the call, write the plan, apply again, speak up when you feel that nudge, rest when you need to rest. You do not need the spotlight. You just need obedience. You do not need total certainty. You just need surrender. My child, if these messages have brought peace to your heart, strengthened your faith, or reminded you of God's love, please consider supporting this ministry through PayPal links below. Together, we can continue sharing hope in God's Word with countless souls around the world. Let this next part hit you fully. The season where things almost happened is finally over. The season where doors almost opened, where you were almost chosen, where breakthrough was almost within reach, that long, exhausting season has come to an end. Living on the edge of almost wears on a person over time. And that quiet ache from seeing glimpses of something good without ever fully grasping it. That ache is being healed today, because almost was never meant to be your permanent home. You mistook delay for denial because you could not see everything happening behind the scenes. Every no you heard was not the plan falling apart. It was actually protecting you from something that would not have lasted. The foundation underneath your life had to be solid before the weight of the blessing could be safely placed on top of it. Now you're stepping out of that in-between place and into something certain, something complete, something that cannot be undone. The soundtrack of your life is shifting. Doors will open without long negotiations. Opportunities will find you not because of who you know, but because of what has already been decided about you. Things you have carried for years without ever seeing the finish line are about to come together with real speed and real clarity. You will stop saying, "I was so close," and start saying, "Look at what actually happened." Every hard season is being redeemed, and everything that felt taken from you is being returned in full. And finally, here is something to settle deep in your heart before we close. God has already gone ahead of you into whatever is coming next. He did not send you forward into a new season without walking through it himself first. Whatever you have quietly feared, failure, rejection, being let down one more time, all of that has already been dealt with. The obstacle you were dreading has already been moved. He does not work within the limits of your timeline. He already knows how the story ends. And he wrote your path with that ending already in mind. So walk forward without fear because the road has already been prepared, and you are not walking it alone. My child, there is something I want to return to you today, something you thought was gone forever. Not lost in the sense of misplaced, but taken, worn down, stolen by years that felt heavier than they should have. I am not speaking only of things. I am speaking of time, of joy, of the version of you that existed before disappointment taught you to guard your heart so tightly. I saw every season the locusts ate. I watched every dream shrink under the weight of waiting. And I tell you now, none of that was final. What looked like loss was only a pause before restoration, and that pause is ending today. You have carried grief quietly. the kind that does not always have a name. Maybe it was a relationship that never healed the way you hoped. Maybe it was a version of your life you thought you would have by now. A career, a family, a sense of peace that always seemed to be just out of reach. You told yourself you had made peace with it. But peace and resignation are not the same thing. And I know the difference, even when you convince yourself you don't. I am not asking you to keep pretending you are fine with what was taken. I am telling you, I am giving it back, and I am giving it back with interest. Restoration does not look like reversing time. I do not hand you back the exact years you lost, because those years did something in you that cannot be undone and honestly should not be undone. They built a depth in you that comfort never could have. But I take what was broken and I build something greater from it. I take the wasted years and I turn them into wisdom that becomes your advantage. I take the relationships that ended and I make room for ones that will actually hold the weight of who you have become. I take the version of you that felt like it was left behind and I do not throw it away. I redeem it. This is why what is coming will not feel like starting over. It will feel like everything finally making sense. The pieces you thought were scattered were never actually lost. They were being gathered the whole time, just out of your sight. And now I am placing them back into your hands, not as broken fragments, but as something whole. You are going to look at your life soon and realize that nothing was wasted. Not the failed attempt, not the wrong turn, not the years that felt empty. Every one of them becomes part of the testimony that helps someone else believe restoration is real. There is a cycle you have been walking in circles inside of, and I want to speak directly to it now. You know the one. The pattern that keeps repeating no matter how many times you try to break free from it on your own strength. Maybe it is the same kind of disappointment showing up in different disguises. Maybe it is a fear that keeps making the same decisions for you before you even realize it has taken the wheel. Maybe it is an old wound passed down to you before you even had the words to understand it. Something that was never fully yours to carry, but became yours anyway because no one broke it before you. I want you to hear this clearly. That cycle ends with you. Not because you finally found the right technique or the right amount of willpower, but because I am breaking it at the root. You do not have to keep replaying the same story that has followed your family, your line, your history. What was passed down does not have to be passed forward. I am not interested in managing your patterns. I am interested in ending them, and the reason I am telling you this now is because you are about to feel the difference. You are going to notice yourself responding differently to situations that used to trigger the old pattern instantly. You are going to catch yourself pausing where you used to react. That pause is not an accident. That is freedom finding its footing in you. This is bigger than your own life, though I know right now it feels deeply personal. And it should. But what I am breaking in you is not going to stop with you. Whoever comes after you, whoever watches your life closely, whoever is connected to you by blood or by relationship, they are going to inherit freedom instead of the pattern. You are not just being healed for your own sake. You are becoming the place where the cycle stops. Somewhere down the line, someone who does not even know your name yet is going to live a freer life because you did not give up in this season. That is not a small thing. That is legacy. I know it has felt lonely carrying all of this. I know there have been nights you wondered if anyone would ever understand what you have walked through. If anyone would recognize the weight you have been holding while still showing up, still working, still smiling in rooms where nobody knew what it cost you to be there. I saw all of it. And I want you to know that the very things you thought disqualified you, the mess, the mistakes, the years that did not go according to plan, those are about to become the exact reason someone else finds hope. You are going to become a light for people who are standing exactly where you used to stand, not because you have it all figured out, but because you survived it. And surviving it with your faith intact is its own kind of proof. People are drawn to authenticity more than they are drawn to perfection. Nobody is inspired by a person who never struggled. They are inspired by someone who struggled and kept walking anyway. That is you. That has always been you. Even in the seasons you felt the most invisible, there will be a day, and it is closer than you think when someone comes to you in the middle of their own hardest season. And you will look at them and know exactly what to say, not because you read it somewhere, but because you lived it. Your pain is going to become someone else's permission to keep going. Your healing is going to become someone else's evidence that healing is actually possible. I'm not wasting a single tear you cried in private. I am turning every one of them into a seed that grows into someone else's breakthrough. This is why I need you to stop apologizing for your story. Stop minimizing what you have walked through just because someone else's situation looked harder from the outside. Your story was never given to you by accident, and it was never meant to just end with you feeling better. It was always meant to ripple outward. So, carry it without shame now. Let people see the scars, not just the highlight reel. The scars are what make the testimony believable. Dear child, every video is created with prayer, time, and dedication to reach those who may be searching for encouragement and faith. By supporting this ministry through PayPal, you help keep this mission growing and touching more lives each day. God bless you abundantly. Beloved child, now I want to speak to you about peace, because I know there is a storm around you right now, or there has been recently, or one is coming that you can already feel building on the horizon. I am not going to promise you that life becomes a place without storms. That is not the promise I am making. What I am promising is that you will not walk through them the same way you used to. You are entering a season where peace does not depend on your circumstances calming down first. This is different from the peace you have known before, the kind that only shows up once everything settles. This peace is going to sit with you in the middle of the noise. It is going to hold steady even while things around you are still shifting. You are going to notice yourself staying calm in situations that used to send you spiraling. And it is not going to be because you finally learned some new coping method. It is because I am placing something in you that circumstances cannot touch. This is the kind of peace that confuses people who are used to watching you panic. They are going to ask how you are so calm, and you will not always have a clean answer because it will not make logical sense. It will simply be me holding the center of your light steady while everything else moves around it during this next transition. I am also placing a covering of protection over you that you may not fully see the evidence of until much later. There will be things you were kept from that you never even knew you needed protecting from. Conversations you almost had that would have set you back. Decisions you almost made that would have cost you years. Doors that seemed appealing but would have led somewhere dangerous. I close those doors quietly, without fanfare, because sometimes the most important thing I do for you is the thing you never even find out about. Trust that even the disappointments you cannot make sense of right now were part of that same protection. I also want to speak to you about wisdom, because you are stepping into decisions that require more than just gut instinct. You are entering a season where the choices in front of you carry real weight, and I do not want you making them out of fear or urgency or pressure from people around you. I am placing clarity in you. You are going to start noticing that you know things you should not logically know yet. A sense of which direction is right before you have all the facts. That is not luck. That is wisdom I am pouring into you because you are going to need it for what is ahead. Do not rush decisions just because waiting feels uncomfortable. Some of the best things I have for you require patience in the choosing, not just patience in the waiting. Ask before you act. Sit with the decision before you commit to it. You will find that the peace I just spoke about will act like a compass. When something is right, it will settle in your spirit even before your mind fully understands why. When something is wrong, even if it looks good on paper, that same peace will feel unsettled, restless, off. Learn to trust that feeling. It is not paranoia, it is discernment, and I am sharpening it in you right now. Take a second here and subscribe to this channel if this word is speaking to you, because there is still more that needs to reach you before we are finished. Now, let me speak to you about the relationships around you, because restoration is not only personal, it reaches into the people connected to your life. There are relationships you have quietly grieved, ones that fractured and never fully healed, Conversations that ended badly and were never revisited, distance that grew between you and someone you used to be close to. I am not promising every relationship gets repaired exactly the way you picture it in your mind. Some relationships serve their purpose and were never meant to continue into this next season, and I need you to release those without guilt. But there are others, ones you have prayed about quietly, ones you have wondered if it is even worth hoping for anymore, that I am moving on. Bridges are being rebuilt in places you assumed were permanently broken. Conversations you thought would never happen are being prepared. Hearts that hardened toward you are softening, not because of anything you are doing to force it, but because I am working on both sides of that relationship, not just yours. You do not have to manufacture reconciliation. Stay ready for it, stay open to it, but do not chase it in a way that exhausts you. What I am restoring in my timing, and it will feel undeniable when it happens because you will not have had to force a single piece of it. For the relationships still in front of you, the ones currently in your life, I am deepening them. You are going to find a new level of honesty available to you with the people you love, a new ability to say the hard things without fear, a new capacity to receive correction without feeling attacked. This is part of the freedom I spoke about earlier, breaking through into your everyday life. Healthy relationships require honesty, and I am giving you the courage for that honesty in a way you have not had before. Let's talk now about provision, because I know practical concerns have weighed on you, and I am not going to pretend those concerns do not matter just because this is a spiritual word. I see the numbers you worry about late at night. I see the bills that come faster than the income does. I see the tightness in your chest when you think about the future and wonder if it will ever feel less precarious. I am not distant from your practical needs. I am deeply aware of every single one of them. Provision is coming, but I want to prepare you for what it might actually look like, because it will not always arrive the way you expect. Sometimes, provision looks like an unexpected opportunity landing in your lap. Sometimes it looks like a door opening that requires you to walk through it with faith before you see the full picture. Sometimes it looks like relief from an expense you thought was permanent. Sometimes it looks like a skill you already have suddenly becoming valuable in a way it never was before. Stay alert. Do not assume provision only comes in the form you have been praying for. I am more creative than your expectations, and I will not be boxed into a single method of taking care of you. I also want you to release the shame that sometimes attaches itself to financial struggle. You are not behind because you are careless. You are not lacking because you did something wrong. Some seasons of tightness exist simply because the fullness has not arrived yet, not because you failed to earn it. Stop measuring your worth by your bank account. Your worth was settled long before any of this, and it does not fluctuate with your circumstances, no matter how convincingly the world tries to tell you otherwise. As this season shifts, I want you to hold a posture of generosity, even in the tight places. Not because I am asking you to give away what you do not have, but because generosity keeps your heart soft in a season where scarcity tries to make people hard and guarded. Give what you can, even if it is small. Encouragement, time, attention, a listening ear. These cost nothing, and they keep the flow of blessing moving through your life instead of stalling out in fear. What you pour out in this season, I will pour back to you, multiplied not as a transaction, but because that is simply how the kingdom works. I want to leave you with this picture before we move toward the end. Picture a field that has been left untouched through a long winter. From the outside, it looks lifeless, gray, forgotten. Nothing about it suggests that anything is happening underneath the surface. But beneath that quiet, cold ground, roots are stretching further than they ever have before, preparing for a growth season that the surface has not caught up to yet. That field is your life right now. What looks still is not actually still. What looks finished is not actually finished. Spring is not a hope, it is a certainty. And it is closer than the winter around you would have you believe. You are not the same person who entered this season. You have grown in ways that will only become obvious once the harvest comes in, and it is coming. Stand firm a little longer. Keep showing up even when it feels repetitive. Keep believing even when the evidence is slow to catch up with the promise. What has been planted in you during this hard season is not wasted. It is the exact thing that will sustain the harvest once it arrives, because you will have the roots strong enough to carry the weight of everything that is coming. Take a moment now to subscribe if you have not already, and share this word with someone who needs to hear that their winter is ending, because this message was never meant to stay with just one person. And now, as we come to the end of this message, hold on to this. You were not meant to carry any of this in fear, and you are not meant to walk away from this moment unchanged. What was spoken here was not random, and it was not meant only to make you feel good for a moment and then fade away. It was meant to plant something true and lasting inside you, a quiet certainty that you are seen, that you are known, and that nothing about your story has been wasted. The delays, the silence, the waiting, all of it was leading somewhere, and that somewhere is now. So, take a deep breath and let go of the fear that told you it was too late, the doubt that told you it was too hard, and the tiredness that told you to give up. None of that gets the final say over your life. What was promised to you is still true, and it is closer than it has ever been. Carry this with you today, not as one more thing you heard and forgot, but as something real that you choose to believe and act on. If this message meant something to you, take a moment to like it, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone else who needs to hear that they are not forgotten, that their waiting has not been wasted, and that their moment is finally here. Thank you for staying until the very end. Go forward today with peace, with courage, and with hope, because a new season has already begun. Amen.